There we go.
Mhm.
Yay. Welcome, my students. And Brad is here today with me. We're going to be discussing tips for reading in English.
Mhm.
And today we're going to be talking more of a casual or general reading, not for those Cambridge exams like ELTS and FCE and PET. I'll be doing a video on those things at another time. But today it's just for helping you with your general reading and things that you choose to read. Um, Brad, since these are tips that Brad suggests to his students, and I agree with these tips. So, Brad, why don't you start us off today?
Sure. So, one thing that I tell my students is that you should be mindful, careful of your level when picking what you want to read. So, for example, my students immediately think, even though it's listening and this is reading, that the BBC is a great example to practice their English. Not when even I have problems with some of the dialects and vocabulary. So if you're a beginner or you're intermediate, you don't want to go for William Shakespeare or Charles Dickens
Mhm.
because that then you'll get discouraged and you think you're worse than you really are.
Mhm.
Um, Usually the books I recommend are the either something at level for a child, as odd as that sounds. For example, my own Czech teacher recommends I watch Peppa Pig and read books at that level, and it works. If they're more advanced, I like to recommend those books where you have the English on one side and the native language on the other, because it's something that they're familiar with. What do you like to recommend, Ellie?
I agree with you that they should follow their level. So if they're a basic student, they should read something basic. I like Roald Dahl because he has a series of books and it starts out basic and it gradually gets more difficult as you go along. It is British English, but that's okay. I don't find that a problem
Me neither.
um, with learning English. My
Yes.
goal is that I want them to be able to read a story where they understand most of it, if not all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for me, that's the goal. Harry Potter's great if they're upper intermediate, but
Mm-hmm.
basic and lower intermediate, uh, stick with things like um, Rodal,
Yep.
the Magic Bus. They have a series called the Magic Bus,
Yep.
and that's good for
Do you
students
mean,
in
sorry,
school.
do you mean the Magic School Bus with Miss
The
Frizzle?
Magic School Bus,
Okay,
right? The
yeah.
Magic School Bus, because they talk about bugs and they talk about the
Yep.
ocean and the sea and the animals, and it's in a fun way. So they're learning everyday things. So that's good for basic to intermediate,
Mm-hmm.
low intermediate. For my advanced students, they are able to choose things that they enjoy, and it's easier for them to decide what stories they like. I recommend things that are like um, biographies,
Yeah.
because biographies tell a story. Um, the other thing you can do
Exactly.
is try reading something that interests you that's in your native language, right? So if you're reading something that's interesting to you in your native language, try to find that in English. Find things that you're interested in English.
Yep.
voanews.com, and I'll post the link in the description box below, is a really good website because it has basic, intermediate, and advanced. And they talk slow, they talk natural, and then they talk a little faster. So you can decide what level. And they have videos, they have stories, and it's a very good website for my for English students.
For my intermediate students, especially ones that like say, I want to use the BBC, I usually recommend Euronews, which
Oh,
is which is basically BBC for Europe. It covers the whole continent. And they don't do that, but it's a good solid intermediate English. And like you said, lots of video, lots of pictures. So that's usually the one I recommend for higher students that want to use news. Mostly because if you read things you enjoy, like for me with history or current events, it'll help your understanding and willingness to stay committed because it's something you recognize. Set a reasonable goal for yourself. For example, I like to read, but I haven't been doing a lot lately. So now I've made a goal of reading a chapter a day, at least a chapter a day. And now I'm reading a lot more.
If it's something like Harry Potter, for example, we'll use that. Um, just read one chapter.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to read more than one and they're comfortable doing that, great. I also have them read the stories out loud and record themselves reading the story. I do
Mm-hmm.
this for two reasons. Primarily so they can hear their pronunciation, because when we learn a language, somehow there's a disconnect between the brain and the mouth. And I know this because when I was learning Chinese, there was definitely a disconnect. I thought, my goodness, my Chinese is so good. And then when I went to say something, it wasn't so good. The
That
intonation
has
was wrong
happened.
or the word.
Yeah, that's happening to me in Czech as well because also it's difficult to think colloquial. So
Mhm.
I'll know, so sedate, what would you like? And I'm all ready to order at the restaurant, and they come up to you, go, what you having today?
Right, right.
So I definitely agree there is a disconnect between
Mm.
the different parts of your head.
The next tip is to have a good English dictionary nearby. Don't translate. Okay, don't translate all the words. Look it up in an English dictionary. See if you understand the English definition. If you don't understand the English definition, then look it up in your translator or your dictionary, your native
Mm.
dictionary, your native language dictionary. Remember to underline words that you don't understand or that you need to look up. And you don't want to do something where you're reading a book. And I'm going to give you an example. Oops. Right? And you're, oh, wait, what's this word? I have to look it up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, no, no. Oh, what's this word? Oh, I have to look it up. And if you're constantly doing this, you're you're going to get frustrated.
Yep.
Don't look at the word, stop, look at the word, stop. Don't go back and forth. Underline the word first, read the paragraph, read the page, see if you can guess the meaning of the word.
Mm-hmm.
See if you can understand the meaning of the word. And if you don't, then at the end of the page or end of the paragraph, um, look up the words. Keep a notebook. You recommend using an app. That's another way to do it if you like keeping things on your tablet or your phone.
Mm-hmm.
But keep a journal. And it's a good idea to add any new words that you're reading to your list and then try to use them when you're speaking as well.
It's something that like I try to tell my students a lot because I what I point out like to point out to them is I don't go to McDonald's and I say, felicitations, citizen, I am endeavoring to obtain consumables. I say, I'd like a cheeseburger, please. It's about
Right.
communication, not about, you know, being Oscar Wilde the second week of your English. And
Here's what I'd like you to do. Um, in the comments section below, post a topic that you would like to listen to or participate in. Post your ideas in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you.
mm-hmm, me too.
Brad, any last words from you?
Enjoy your reading.
Right. Choose wisely. All right, my students.
Definitely choose wisely.
Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you'll come back again for our next live stream on Monday the 26th. And if you have any comments or questions, post those in the description box below. And
Mm-hmm.
until next time, my students, please, please keep practicing. Bye.
Bye bye.